If you go to a wedding or really any massive corporate event and you wake up the next morning
Yeah.
and you remember like how beautiful the floral centerpieces were
Right.
or how incredible the lighting looked during the first dance, well, the host succeeded.
They absolutely did.
But, and
Yeah.
this is a big but, if you wake up and you remember exactly how you got from the hotel to the venue,
Oh, man. Yeah.
or you remember like having to ask four different people where the restrooms were,
Then the host failed
that,
completely.
exactly, the host failed. Welcome to today's deep dive. We are talking about the architecture of invisible success today.
Invisible success. I love that term.
It's so true, right? Our mission today is to, well, we're going to tear apart this fascinating document. It's titled The Ultimate Guide to Wedding Logistics and Planning.
It is a dense read, but so good.
Oh, totally. But I want to be clear to you listening. We aren't just looking at this to learn how to throw a party.
Right. It's way bigger than that.
Exactly. We are extracting the absolute best strategies for creating a flawless, totally frictionless experience.
Because the principles apply everywhere.
Yes. So for anyone listening who dreads that, that overwhelming feeling of complex planning, whether you are gearing up for a wedding or trying to coordinate a corporate retreat or just attempting to wrangle a massive family reunion without losing your mind.
Which is a whole different kind of stress.
Oh, don't even get me started on family reunions. But we are going to decode the underlying logistics today.
It's such a crucial topic because, well, we often fundamentally misunderstand what makes an event successful.
We really do.
We attribute success to the aesthetics. We think the food, the music, the venue, that's what created the magic.
Right, the stuff you can take a picture of.
Exactly. But those are just the surface layer. The text we are diving into today makes a very bold, just unequivocal claim right from the jump.
And what is that?
It says that while decor and outfits grab the attention, the logistics are the true, unyielding backbone of the entire operation.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because reading about logistics, I mean, it sounds incredibly dry.
It does. It really does.
It sounds like spreadsheets and clipboards and just stress. It doesn't sound like magic.
right.
But the reality of executing these logistics is pure drama. It's high-stakes strategy dealing with human behavior at its absolute most unpredictable.
Oh, totally. Humans are the ultimate wild card.
Always. And the source material lists 5 key elements that make up this logistical backbone: guest transportation and accommodation,
Huge one.
welcome bag preparation and delivery, vendor coordination, timeline management, and of course, emergency planning.
Yep.
I mean, that doesn't just sound like throwing a party. That sounds like a syllabus for an advanced degree in supply chain management.
Because it essentially is. And
Yeah.
what's really fascinating here is the underlying psychology of why this matters so much,
Right.
which the guide actually touches upon. Proper logistics create a stress-free experience for both the hosts and the guests. But the ultimate goal of all these, spreadsheets and timelines, the true mark of logistical mastery is total invisibility.
Invisibility. I want to make sure we really drill down on that concept of invisibility because it sort of frames everything else we're going to talk about today.
It's the core philosophy.
It really is. It's like a massive theater production.
Yeah.
Think about it. The guests sitting in the audience, they only see the actors.
Right.
They see the spotlight, the beautiful costumes. They see the drama unfolding on stage.
The aesthetics.
Exactly. But the logistics, those are the stagehands dressed entirely in black running around in the dark.
Moving heavy set pieces.
Yes. Pulling ropes, cueing the sound.
Yeah.
If a stagehand misses a single cue, the entire illusion of the play is completely shattered.
Completely.
The actor standing in the dark, or a fake wall falls over, and suddenly the audience remembers, oh wait, they're just sitting in a room looking at wood and canvas.
That is a perfect way to conceptualize it. It really is. The host of the event is the director, but the logistics are the stagehands keeping the reality of the show intact.
Right.
If your logistics are executed flawlessly, no one notices them. No guest ever walks away from an event saying, wow, the timeline management between the cocktail hour and the salad course was breathtaking.
No, they definitely don't say that.
Never. They just remember feeling relaxed and having a great time. They only notice the logistics when the machinery breaks down.
Like when the shuttle is late.
Exactly. When the shuttle is late, when they're shivering outside waiting for a valet, when the food is cold. If we connect this to the bigger picture, event planning is really an exercise in anticipating human needs before the humans even realize they have them.
But here's the thing. If the logistics are the backbone, why do we constantly get distracted by the shiny objects?
Oh, human nature.
I mean, I'm looking at my own tendencies here. If I have a budget and a massive event to plan, my instinct is to spend like 80% of my time agonizing over the tangible
The
things.
pretty things.
Right. I want to look at fabric swatches. I want to taste the cake. How do we force our brains to prioritize an abstract transportation timeline over the exact shade of the table runners?
Well, it comes down to a well-documented cognitive bias. We have a profound bias toward the tangible.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Think about it. Flowers, dresses, lighting. You can see them, you can touch them, you can take pictures of them and put them on a mood board.
Yeah, but Pinterest is built on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They provide immediate dopamine. A timeline, on the other hand, is an abstract concept. It provides zero satisfaction until the exact moment you are living it.
That makes so much sense.
But let's look at the source material and actually play out a scenario to see why prioritizing the abstract over the tangible is basically a matter of survival.
Okay.
Let's take just one of those 5 key logistical elements you mentioned earlier, guest transportation.
Well, let's do it. Walk me through the disaster scenario.
Okay, so imagine you've succumbed to the tangible bias. You've spent thousands of dollars, months of planning to secure the most breathtaking remote mountain venue.
Sounds gorgeous.
It is. The aesthetic is literally perfect. You spent hours choosing the perfect photographer to capture the sunset against the mountains.
Right.
But you underplanned the transportation.
Uh-oh.
You didn't secure dedicated shuttles because you assumed, guests would just figure it out. Or you assumed they could easily find ride shares in a rural area.
Oh, wow. You can easily see how that seemingly small assumption is about to mathematically destroy the rest of the evening.
Precisely. Let's look at the cascading math of a transportation failure.
Okay.
The ceremony is scheduled for 4:00 p.m. At 3:45 p.m., 50% of your guests are stranded at their hotels 20 miles away because there are 0 ride shares available.
0. Wow.
Now, your timeline management, another key element, is instantly destroyed. You can't start a wedding with half the chairs empty, so the ceremony is delayed by a full hour.
Which means the entire schedule shifts.
Right. Because the ceremony is delayed, it bleeds into the golden hour. The photographer loses the natural sunset light you paid a massive premium for.
Oh, that hurts.
And it gets worse. Because everything is pushed back, the vendor coordination fails. The caterers, who timed the hot appetizers to come out exactly at 5:00 p.m.
I don't know, the food?
Yeah, they are now keeping delicate food under heat lamps until 6:00 p.m. The food dries out, the ice in the signature cocktails melts.
It's a disaster.
And the band. You hired them for a specific 4-hour window. Now they are sitting around, and you will either lose an hour of dancing or have to pay exorbitant overtime fees.
And meanwhile, what is the host doing? The host, who is supposed to be having the most magical day of their life, is suddenly thrust into emergency planning mode.
Yes.
They are standing there in a perfectly tailored outfit, frantically scrolling through their phone, trying to call local cab companies.
Exactly. A single failure in the invisible machinery cascades and completely destroys the tangible aesthetics you spend all your time focusing on.
The beautiful photos,
Gone.
the perfect food, ruined, the host's mood, shattered. All because the abstract concept of transportation logistics was ignored in favor of the tangible aesthetic. So, prioritizing logistics isn't about ignoring the pretty things at all. It's about building an impenetrable fortress around the pretty things so they can actually be enjoyed.
That's a great way to put it.
It's preventative defense.
It is the only way to protect your investment in the aesthetics. And the source document understands this perfectly.
Yeah, it really does.
To truly help us grasp how these massive, somewhat abstract, logistical concepts play out in reality, the text zooms in on a very specific, tangible microcosm of the event.
The welcome bag.
The welcome bag.
It seems so quaint, a little bag of treats.
It does.
But logistically, it represents every single concept we were talking about today.
It really does. Let's dive deep into this because the way the guide breaks down the welcome bag completely changed my perspective on what hospitality actually is.
Me too. Because the source provides a very specific what to include list. It's not just throwing some generic mints and a bottle of water in a paper sack.
No, not at all.
They list personalized welcome notes, snacks and beverages, local treats or souvenirs, a wedding itinerary, maps or travel guides, and emergency essentials like pain relievers, tissues, and sanitizer.
When you look closely at that list, you realize you aren't looking at a gift. You're looking at a deeply strategic collection of tools.
Tools.
If
Yes.
we unpack the behavioral economics of the welcome bag, as outlined in the source, it becomes clear that this is a preemptive strike against guest discomfort.
I really want to explore that term, preemptive strike,
Mm-hmm.
because when I travel for a big event, the first thing I feel when I get to my hotel room isn't excitement.
What is it?
It's usually a mild disorientation. I'm out of my routine, I don't know the area, probably dehydrated from a flight,
Yeah.
and I have a low-level anxiety about where I need to be and when.
Which is exactly the psychological state the welcome bag is designed to intercept.
Right.
Think about the items. Why provide a printed itinerary and physical maps in the era of smartphones? I mean, everyone has Google Maps in their pocket.
Because pulling out your phone, finding the specific email with the address, copying it, pasting it into a map app, hoping you have cell service, I mean, that's friction.
It's massive friction, and it introduces the possibility of error. By handing them a physical map and a timeline the absolute moment they arrive, you are drastically reducing the cognitive load on them.
You are answering their questions before they even have to formulate them.
Exactly. And more importantly, and this is the selfish, strategic reason hosts must do this, you are reducing the burden on yourself.
Oh, right. If you don't give them that timeline, what happens? Your phone starts buzzing.
Nonstop.
You are trying to enjoy a rehearsal dinner or get ready with your family, and you are getting 50 separate text messages asking, wait, what time is the brunch again? Or where are we supposed to park? Or is there a dress code for tonight?
It's exhausting. The printed itinerary is basically an instruction manual for how to navigate your event so they don't have to bother you.
It builds a barrier of self-sufficiency around the guest.
Yes. And then you look at the emergency essentials they recommend, the pain relievers, the sanitizer, the tissues.
That is just profound empathy for the traveler's experience.
It really is. You are anticipating that travel causes dehydration and headaches. You are anticipating that being in large crowds requires sanitizer.
You are solving their physical discomfort before they even have to seek out a pharmacy in a strange town. You are literally engineering their physical comfort.
So a good welcome bag is basically a survival kit disguised as a luxury gift.
That is precisely what it is. And the document goes even deeper into the signaling effect of how you package this survival kit.
Oh, the packaging.
Yeah, they offer specific packaging ideas. Eco-friendly tote bags, elegant gift boxes, rustic baskets. This isn't just about what looks nice. It's about setting the psychological stage.
I completely see that. If I walk into my hotel room and see a sleek, minimalist black box with a perfectly tied silk ribbon,
Right.
my brain immediately categorizes the upcoming experience. I think, okay, this event is going to be highly formal, modern, maybe a little rigid.
You know, you need to make sure your tuxedo is perfectly pressed.
Exactly. But if I walk in and see a canvas tote bag with a hand-drawn map of local breweries poking out of the top,
Totally a different vibe.
I instantly know the vibe is relaxed, communal, outdoorsy. You are communicating the entire theme, the behavioral expectations of the event, before the guest even sees the venue or speaks to the host.
You are anchoring their expectations.
You are, but this is exactly where the guide introduces a massive flashing warning sign.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
It's a trap that almost every ambitious planner falls into.
Yes, I was looking at this list of personalization tips. Handwritten notes, customizing based on what you know the guests prefer, incorporating hyper-specific cultural
It
elements.
sounds so nice in theory.
It does. But I'm looking at this and I see a massive trap. The source explicitly warns against overcomplicating welcome bags.
Right.
If I start customizing bags for everyone, aren't I just creating a secondary logistics nightmare?
You absolutely are.
Where is the line between a thoughtful, culturally personalized bag with handwritten notes and locally sourced artisanal honey?
Sounds lovely.
And a complete breakdown where I'm sitting on my living room floor at 3 a.m., covered in hot glue, sobbing, while trying to tie identical perfect bows on 80 different baskets.
It's a very real trap, and it's why the source flags it as a common mistake. The line you are asking about is drawn entirely by scalability and your own sanity.
Scalability.
Yes. The desire to personalize is noble, but it often morphs into a form of martyrdom masquerading as hospitality.
Ooh. Martyrdom masquerading as hospitality. That hits hard.
Think about the handwritten note. It is a beautiful, intimate touch.
It is.
But if you have 300 guests, handwriting 300 thoughtful, unique letters isn't hospitality, it's a logistical failure.
Because of the time it takes.
Exactly. It will consume hours of your timeline that should be spent on higher leverage tasks, like confirming vendor arrivals.
So how do you balance the desire for impact with the reality of scale?
By focusing on the guest's actual experience rather than your desire to prove how hard you worked.
Oh, that's a good distinction.
A simple, beautifully printed welcome note with a short, handwritten signature scales beautifully. Choosing one excellent, universally appealing local snack rather than curating a bespoke collection of 5 different dietary-specific treats per bag.
Right, right. Keep it simple.
The goal is guest comfort, not a showcase of your crafting endurance. If the effort to create the bag exhausts you, you will be stressed and irritable when the guests arrive.
And an irritable host violates the primary goal of logistics, a stress-free experience.
Exactly. The goal is their comfort, not your martyrdom.
That is a massive insight. Okay, so let's say you've done it. You've thread the needle.
You did the impossible.
You've curated the perfect, scalable, empathetic welcome bags. They look great. They are packed with utility, and you didn't lose your mind making them.
They're a great job.
But getting the items into the bag is really only half the battle. Because the true test of your logistics is how you actually get that physical bag into the hands of the guest.
Which brings us to the art of distribution, the chain of custody.
The chain of custody. The source breaks this down into 3 critical questions: when, who, and how.
Yep.
For the when, they suggest handing them out at hotel check-in, during the welcome dinner, or at the venue entrance.
Right.
For the who, it could be the wedding planner, the hotel staff, or assigned family members.
All viable options.
And for the how, it demands creating a guest checklist, labeling each bag clearly, and using a distribution timeline.
Let's analyze the failure points in the when. Because timing is everything, and this is where most people drop the ball.
Okay.
You have this carefully crafted first impression of your event, and you have to hand it off. Let's look at handing them out at the venue entrance.
To me, that completely invalidates the entire purpose of the bag.
Why is that? Well, if the bag contains the map, the itinerary, and the pain relievers,
Yeah.
and you don't give it to them until they walk into the venue.
Oh, right. They've already had to navigate the city without the map. They already had the headache on the shuttle. The preemptive strike against friction has failed.
Precisely. Handing it out at the venue entrance might work if it's purely a decorative party favor, like a little box of chocolates to take home.
Yeah, that's fine.
But as a logistical tool, a survival kit, it is useless at that point. The guest has already experienced the friction of arrival, so that leaves the welcome dinner or hotel check-in.
Hotel check-in seems like the absolute gold standard to me. They arrive, they are tired, they get their room key, and they immediately receive the survival kit. It feels like magic.
It is the gold standard for the guest experience, absolutely. But from a logistical standpoint, it introduces a massive variable.
Which is,
Third-party risk.
the hotel staff.
You are now trusting the hotel staff. You are trusting a receptionist who is juggling 50 other guests, answering ringing phones, and dealing with complaints to remember to reach under the counter and hand over your specific bag to your specific guest.
Oh man, when you put it like that, it sounds risky.
This is where the how becomes a matter of life and death for your event's first impression.
Let's look at how this domino effect actually plays out when you don't use the tools the guide suggests: the checklist and the clear labeling.
Give me a scenario.
Okay. Let's say you took the personalization advice to heart just a little bit. You made a specific bag for your Uncle Bob, who is a diabetic, so you included sugar-free snacks.
Thoughtful.
And you made a bag for your college roommate, who loves craft beer, so you put a local IPA in there.
Also thoughtful.
And you just dropped 30 bags off at the front desk and said, please hand these out to the Miller wedding party.
Disaster waiting to happen.
Exactly. So a shift change happens at the hotel front desk. The new clerk sees a pile of bags. A guest says they are with the Miller wedding, and the clerk just grabs a bag at random.
Because they don't know any better.
Right. Uncle Bob gets the craft beer. Your roommate gets the sugar-free cookies. Best case scenario, it's a little awkward, and the personalization effort is entirely wasted.
And worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario, Uncle Bob is relying on that bag for a safe snack. When his blood sugar drops, he opens it to find a beer, and now we are back to a medical emergency, ruining the timeline.
Wow. Yeah, it perfectly illustrates why a checklist isn't just a piece of administrative paperwork. It is a mechanism of control over the chain of custody.
Right.
When you provide a hotel with a spreadsheet, alphabetized, with clear instructions on which name gets which specific bag, you are minimizing their margin of error. You are taking the guesswork out of their job.
It really makes you realize that these small steps scale up incredibly fast.
exponentially.
If you are managing the distribution of 150 personalized bags across 3 different hotels, coordinating with different staff members, accounting for different arrival times,
It's a lot.
you are not just throwing a party, you are running a miniature supply chain. You are the logistics director of a tiny temporary corporation.
That is exactly what you are doing. And trying to run a supply chain while also trying to be the gracious host, trying to enjoy the moment with your family. I mean, it is a recipe for a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
I would crumble.
It is nearly impossible without serious infrastructure and backup.
Which is the perfect pivot. Because this level of organization, managing supply chains, tracking vendors, controlling timelines, mitigating third-party risks, it requires an architecture that most of us simply don't have.
We just don't have those muscles built.
Right. You should not be doing this alone with a legal pad, a pen, and a chaotic group chat.
Please don't.
And this leads us directly to the core of the source material solution. We are talking about the digital ecosystem designed to save you from all of this.
Now we're getting to the good part.
Specifically, the heavy emphasis from the text places on the Weddizer platform.
This is where we see the paradigm shift from the old way of doing things to the modern, streamlined approach.
Yes.
The source document heavily emphasizes the use of the Weddizer website, specifically for planning and logistics purposes.
Right.
It highlights 2 main pillars of the platform that work in tandem: the business section and the expert articles related to your specific niche. Let's really dig into the mechanics of why this platform approach is so necessary. Because I think people hear website and think, oh, another tool to manage.
But it's not just a tool, it's an ecosystem.
Exactly. The text describes the Weddizer business section as a dedicated resource to find event planners, logistics coordinators, transportation services, and packaging vendors.
All the heavy lifters.
It explicitly connects couples with professionals who specialize in logistics. But why is this better than just Googling wedding transportation near me?
To understand the value of the platform, we have to look at the friction of the traditional DIY planning method. If you go to a standard search engine and type in event transportation, what happens?
Oh, I've done this for corporate events. You get millions of hits.
Millions.
You get prom limos, you get airport shuttle vans, you get party buses with neon lights, you get companies that just rent the vehicles but don't provide drivers. It's a barrage of noise.
It's an avalanche of unstructured data. And because it's unstructured, the burden of vetting falls entirely on you.
Which takes hours.
Days, sometimes. You have to spend hours calling these companies, trying to ascertain whether a company that usually drives teenagers to prom actually understands the rigorous, zero-fail, cascading timeline of a wedding.
Probably not.
Right. What the Weddizer business section does is filter out that noise algorithmically and intentionally. It acts as a curated ecosystem.
So it's like hiring a general contractor versus walking into a massive hardware store completely blind.
Exactly. When you search for transportation services or logistics coordinators in the business section on Weddizer, you aren't looking at generic transport companies.
You are looking at specialists.
You are finding the heavy lifters who speak the specific language of event logistics. They know what a first-look photo session is. They understand the buffer times required for loading 50 people onto a bus in formal wear.
That takes way longer than loading 50 people in jeans, by the way.
Oh, massively longer. It's the shift from hacking your way through the wilderness alone to walking on a paved road with a guide.
That makes perfect sense for the business section. It's the Rolodex of vetted subcontractors. Yes. But the source also heavily pushes the planning aspect through their expert articles. It notes that Weddizer offers niche articles guiding users through step-by-step planning, budget management, vendor selection, and enhancing the guest experience.
The synergy between these two features is what makes platform-assisted planning so powerful.
How so?
Well, if the business section is the vetted subcontractors, the expert articles are the architectural blueprint. It's not just about giving you a list of people to hire, it's about educating you so you make informed, strategic decisions before you hire them.
I need a tangible example of how that works in practice. How does a user actually move through this ecosystem?
Okay, imagine you are planning a destination wedding.
Okay, stressful already.
Very.
Yeah.
You are sitting at your computer, feeling that rising tide of panic about how to get your 80 guests from an international airport to a remote villa in Tuscany.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the logistics seem impossible.
So you go to Weddizer, First, you engage with the educational side. You read a niche expert article titled something like Navigating International Destination Wedding Logistics.
Okay, so you're absorbing the blueprint.
Right. That article educates you on the hidden pitfalls. It explains that you need to account for flight delays, complex customs procedures, language barriers with local drivers, and narrow European roads that can't accommodate standard, massive buses.
All things you wouldn't know unless you'd done it before.
Exactly. It tells you exactly what questions to ask a vendor. It gives you a baseline of specialized knowledge. Then, armed with that knowledge, you immediately pivot.
To the business section.
Yes. You click over to the Weddizer business section.
Hmm.
You search for local transportation coordinators based in Tuscany.
But now the conversation is totally different.
Completely different. When you contact them, you aren't just blindly asking, can you get my guest to the villa?
Right.
You are asking, what is your contingency plan for delayed international arrivals? Do your vehicles fit on the specific access road to my venue?
You sound like a pro.
You are no longer a desperate, uninformed buyer. You are an educated consumer making a strategic hire.
You are learning the high-level strategy through the article. Let's talk about the terrain. Because again, wear comfortable shoes sounds like generic advice. But in a P&W forest, the ground is an active biological variable.
The ground is not dirt. It is a sponge. It is composed of centuries of decaying pine needles, thick layers of moss, and damp, porous soil. It holds moisture constantly.
So if you send out an elegant invitation and you do not explicitly, aggressively warn your guests about the physics of the forest floor, someone is going to show up wearing expensive stiletto heels.
And the physics of a stiletto heel on a mossy sponge dictate that they will sink 3 inches into the damp earth with every single step they take.
Wow, that sounds awful.
They will ruin their shoes. They will be physically exhausted from trying to balance. They will likely twist an ankle.
The environment will actively punish them.
Yes. The Weddizer Guide is implicitly teaching planners that you are responsible for mitigating the hostility of the environment. You have to communicate clearly. You have to recommend block heels, boots, or wedges. You are managing their physical safety.
And managing all of this leads directly into the budgeting strategy. The Weddizer resources are adamant that you cannot look at a venue's baseline rental fee and assume that is your budget. You have to calculate the hidden multipliers.
The multipliers are the financial ruin of unprepared planners.
Let's track them. We talked about the vendor travel premiums, especially for Vancouver Island, paying for ferry tickets, commercial transit time, and hotel rooms for your catering staff. But there's also the timing multiplier.
Oh, timing is everything.
The guide warns against booking during peak tourist seasons or heavy rain months without understanding the financial impact.
Timing alters the entire economic landscape of the region. If you book an event on Vancouver Island in July, you are competing with global tourism. The cost of a hotel block for your guests doubles.
Makes sense. Supply and demand.
Exactly. The cost of renting passenger vans to shuttle people from the ferry terminal skyrockets. Furthermore, ferry reservations sell out months in advance.
Right.
If your vendors do not secure commercial ferry reservations 6 months prior, they might miss the sailing entirely, and your food simply does not arrive.
The logistics are incredibly fragile. It requires a massive amount of foresight. The Weddizer platform is forcing you to look at the holistic economic picture. You are not just paying for access to a beautiful patch of trees, you are financing a complex logistical operation to move humans, infrastructure, and resources into and out of a wild ecosystem.
That is the reality of the Destination Forest event.
So, synthesizing everything we have unpacked today from this massive mountain of research, what is the ultimate actionable takeaway for someone staring down this venue selection decision?
When you distill the data, the path forward is clear. If your priority is cinematic scale, if you want massive, imposing mountains, roaring rivers, and dramatic topography, and you need to accommodate a larger guest list with relative ease, Washington is the strategic choice.
Right.
It provides wild, volatile adventure while keeping you tethered to major global infrastructure and a vast vendor pool.
But if your vision is uncompromisingly exclusive, if you demand that ethereal combination of ancient forest meeting the crashing ocean, and you prioritize a drier, more predictable summer climate, Vancouver Island is the answer.
Yes.
Provided, of course, that you're willing to embrace the grueling logistics, accept a smaller guest list, and fund the heavy transportation multipliers.
And this underscores the vital importance of utilizing a resource like the Weddizer website's articles section. They strip away the romantic illusion.
They really do.
They do not just show you a perfectly edited photo of a misty forest. They expose the mechanical, brutal reality of what it takes to execute that photo. They explain the ferry schedules, the physics of the light, the necessity of local knowledge, and the bureaucratic maze of permit fees. They give you the data required to make an informed, resilient decision.
Because the fantasy of the forest is beautiful, but mastering the logistics is what prevents that fantasy from turning into a disaster. As we close out this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. Something that really stuck with me as we explored these wild landscapes. At the very beginning, we talked about how picking a traditional indoor venue is an exercise in purchasing total control.
Right, the sterile box.
You buy the exact temperature, the exact lighting, the exact acoustic environment. It is safe and it is predictable. But when you make the choice to step into a Pacific Northwest forest, whether you are navigating the unpredictable alpine mist of Washington or the complex coastal logistics of Vancouver Island, you are fundamentally doing the exact opposite.
Yeah.
You're actively, deliberately surrendering control to nature. So here is the question to mull over. Is it possible that the surrender itself is the point?
Oh, that's interesting.
Is it possible that giving up that rigid control, choosing to embrace the sudden moody fog, leaning into the dim, mysterious lighting of an ancient canopy, and accepting the wild, uneven moss beneath your feet is exactly what strips away the sterile predictability of a standard gathering?
I think so.
Maybe the magic isn't found in forcing the environment to bend to your itinerary. Maybe the true magic, the thing that transforms a gathering into a once-in-a-lifetime experience, is letting the wildness of the environment dictate the memory. Thank you so much for joining us on this massive logistical journey today as we unpack the incredible venue selection guidance from the Weddizer platform's articles. Keep analyzing the logistics, keep exploring those wild spaces, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.
The guide warns against booking during peak tourist seasons or heavy rain months without understanding the financial impact.
Timing alters the entire economic landscape of the region. If you book an event on Vancouver Island in July, you are competing with global tourism. The cost of a hotel block for your guests doubles.
Makes sense. Supply and demand.
Exactly. The cost of renting passenger vans to shuttle people from the ferry terminal skyrockets. Furthermore, ferry reservations sell out months in advance.
Right.
If your vendors do not secure commercial ferry reservations 6 months prior, they might miss the sailing entirely, and your food simply does not arrive.
The logistics are incredibly fragile. It requires a massive amount of foresight. The Weddizer platform is forcing you to look at the holistic economic picture. You are not just paying for access to a beautiful patch of trees, you are financing a complex logistical operation to move humans, infrastructure, and resources into and out of a wild ecosystem.
That is the reality of the Destination Forest event.
So, synthesizing everything we have unpacked today from this massive mountain of research, what is the ultimate actionable takeaway for someone staring down this venue selection decision?
When you distill the data, the path forward is clear. If your priority is cinematic scale, if you want massive, imposing mountains, roaring rivers, and dramatic topography, and you need to accommodate a larger guest list with relative ease, Washington is the strategic choice.
Right.
It provides wild, volatile adventure while keeping you tethered to major global infrastructure and a vast vendor pool.
But if your vision is uncompromisingly exclusive, if you demand that ethereal combination of ancient forest meeting the crashing ocean, and you prioritize a drier, more predictable summer climate, Vancouver Island is the answer.
Yes.
Provided, of course, that you're willing to embrace the grueling logistics, accept a smaller guest list, and fund the heavy transportation multipliers.
And this underscores the vital importance of utilizing a resource like the Weddizer website's articles section. They strip away the romantic illusion.
They really do.
They do not just show you a perfectly edited photo of a misty forest. They expose the mechanical, brutal reality of what it takes to execute that photo. They explain the ferry schedules, the physics of the light, the necessity of local knowledge, and the bureaucratic maze of permit fees. They give you the data required to make an informed, resilient decision.
Because the fantasy of the forest is beautiful, but mastering the logistics is what prevents that fantasy from turning into a disaster. As we close out this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. Something that really stuck with me as we explored these wild landscapes. At the very beginning, we talked about how picking a traditional indoor venue is an exercise in purchasing total control.
Right, the sterile box.
You buy the exact temperature, the exact lighting, the exact acoustic environment. It is safe and it is predictable. But when you make the choice to step into a Pacific Northwest forest, Whether you are navigating the unpredictable alpine mist of Washington or the complex coastal logistics of Vancouver Island, you are fundamentally doing the exact opposite.
Yeah.
You're actively, deliberately surrendering control to nature. So here is the question to mull over. Is it possible that the surrender itself is the point?
Oh, that's interesting.
Is it possible that giving up that rigid control, choosing to embrace the sudden moody fog, leaning into the dim, mysterious lighting of an ancient canopy, and accepting the wild, uneven moss beneath your feet, is exactly what strips away the sterile predictability of a standard gathering?
I think so.
Maybe the magic isn't found in forcing the environment to bend to your itinerary. Maybe the true magic, the thing that transforms a gathering into a once-in-a-lifetime experience, is letting the wildness of the environment dictate the memory. Thank you so much for joining us on this massive logistical journey today as we unpack the incredible venue selection guidance from the Weddizer platform's articles. Keep analyzing the logistics, keep exploring those wild spaces, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.